Right before I was about to propose, my girlfriend's brother pulled me aside and said 4 words that changed everything. I had the ring in my jacket pocket, my hands were already shaking. My name is Owen, and I need to tell this story carefully because the people in it are real, and I love most of them. Raina and I had been together for 3 years. 3 years of the kind of relationship that doesn't make for dramatic stories because it was just genuinely good. Steady, warm, full of the small, ordinary moments that people underestimate until they've lived without them. She made me want to be more deliberate about everything. The way I spent my time, the way I showed up, the way I thought about the future. I bought the ring 4 months before I planned to propose because I saw it and simply knew. I kept it in a shoebox in my closet and sometimes just opened the box for no reason. The proposal plan was her family's annual dinner at her parents' house in early December. Twinkle lights in the backyard, the whole family together, a moment I had chosen specifically because Raina always said her happiest memories lived in that backyard. Her parents knew, her aunt knew. I had asked her father properly, old-fashioned and sincere, and he had gripped my hand with both of his and told me to take care of her. Her brother Soren was the only one I hadn't spoken to, not from avoidance. Soren was 5 years older than Raina, lived in another city, worked constantly, and existed at the edges of family gatherings, present but slightly removed, observant in a way that I'd always read as reserved personality rather than anything pointed. We got along fine in the way people get along fine when they've never had a real conversation. I didn't think much about it. The dinner was going perfectly. Raina was laughing at something her aunt said across the table. The lights were exactly right. My hand kept moving to my jacket pocket. Not to check, just the way you touch something you want to make sure is still real. I had timed it for after dessert before anyone drifted inside. Soren touched my arm and tilted his head toward the kitchen. I followed him because there was nothing in his face that told me not to. He closed the door behind us, turned around, and looked at me with an expression I still don't have a clean word for. Not malicious, not uncomfortable, something more like a man who has decided to do something hard and is already on the other side of the decision. He said 4 words. She's been seeing someone. The kitchen was very quiet. I heard Raina laugh again from the other room. Soren didn't perform it. He didn't add to it immediately, didn't explain or elaborate, just let the words exist in the space between us and watched me process them with the steady look of someone who had been carrying something heavy and had just set it down. Then he told me the rest. Not everything, but enough. A man she'd known before me. Something that had apparently never fully ended. Something Soren had found out 3 weeks ago from a cousin who'd seen them together and assumed, wrongly, that the family knew. He told me he almost didn't say anything. He told me he went back and forth for 3 weeks. He told me he saw my jacket pocket. I stood in my girlfriend's mother's kitchen with a ring against my ribs and understood that the entire architecture of the evening had just changed shape. I didn't propose that night. I put the ring in my glove compartment on the way home and drove for a long time before I went inside. I didn't sleep. I sat with what I knew and what I didn't know and all the distance between them. I talked to Raina 2 days later. I told her what I'd heard. I gave her the room to tell me her version without me performing an emotion I hadn't fully felt yet. She confirmed it. Not everything Soren had said, but enough. Her own version, her own words, a confession that had clearly wanted to exist for a while and finally had a door to come through. We didn't survive it. Not because I couldn't have tried, maybe I could have, but because in the conversation I saw something I hadn't seen in 3 years or hadn't let myself see. A separate life she had been maintaining alongside ours. Not a mistake, not a moment, a choice sustained over time. The ring is still in my glove compartment. I should probably move it. Every few days I think about moving it and then I don't. Here's what I want to say about Soren. He pulled me aside knowing it would detonate the evening, knowing his family would find out he'd said something, knowing the complexity he was walking into. He did it anyway, 4 words at a time, because he thought I deserved to know before I made the biggest decision of my life on top of a foundation that wasn't what I believed it was. I texted him a month later, I know that wasn't easy. Thank you. He replied, you would have done the same. I've thought about that response more than anything else from that entire night because he's right, I would have. And somehow that's the thing that tells me most clearly that I'll be okay, that somewhere in all of this, I still recognize the person I want to be. The ring is still in the glove compartment. Maybe that means something. Maybe it just means I'm not ready to decide what it means yet. Both are allowed.